Hey coaches, and welcome to your NCI Level 1 curriculum. This is Module 1, The Art of Coaching. Let's dive in. All right, first and foremost, let me just say that coaching is so much more than a macro prescription. We will get there. You will learn how to build out a macro prescription. But first things first, we have to learn how to implement true behavior change for our clients. So there's a couple steps that we're going to take you through to initiate this. First of all, guide your clients to success slowly. Change is difficult, nobody likes change, and it should take time because truly we are trying to build autonomy in our clients, meaning we want to build their confidence so they can do this long after we are done coaching them. So for that reason, really focus on small, consistent wins versus trying to run through things really quickly. I'm going to encourage this because as coaches, it's really easy to get wrapped up in this fun and exciting realm of learning all these new things, having all these tools to implement with your clients, but in all reality, they need to learn the boring work and do it really, really well. The other point I want to make is that it's not about telling your clients exactly what to do. We really do want to help them build the skills, but we also want them to make decisions with us as coaches. So bring them along the journey with you. The second point is that people are dynamic creatures. Everyone is different. They're going to require a different journey. So for that reason, remember that no two clients are the same and they're all going to require a different avenue in coaching. I also want to bring this up because I've heard time and time again from coaches along the way that they want week 1 to be about this, week 2 to be about that. And they want to have this really rigid program moving their clients along perfectly. But that just doesn't work in real life. In all honesty, some people start in different places and other people are going to progress quicker than others. So remember just to be a little bit more fluid to really make this individualized to each person. Another thing I want to bring up about people being dynamic and everyone being different is that each client is going to have unique emotional, psychological, and physical challenges that you're going to have to work through. And that's okay. We want them to have an individualized program. We will talk a little bit more about when to know if something's out of scope or not, but just understand that people are going to be different and they're going to require different avenues in coaching. And that's what makes it so fun and also challenging. The next point that I want to bring up is that your coaching role is to guide, but also to collaborate. This is definitely a joint effort between you and the client. So remember that along the journey. Allow your clients to be part of the process because not only is that going to help them build that autonomy that we were talking about, but it's also going to help them be more excited and invigorated for what's to come along the journey. We want to absolutely encourage our clients to also make suggestions along the way because honestly, when things come out of your client's mouth, they're more likely to remember and they're more likely to take it seriously because they said it themselves. So remember, we want to loop them into this whole process. And the last point to effective coaching and really implementing that true behavior change is that we, the coaches, need to be a mirror for our client. So what I mean by that is that we want to reflect their habits, their good habits, their bad habits, things that they're doing that are probably hindering them from getting to their goal, which is why we're here to help them. With that same concept, we also want to remember that our clients typically have tunnel vision. So they're seeing just what's right ahead of them. They're eager to get to their goal. They oftentimes get that squirrel mode, wanting to just get there as fast as possible, and they're not thinking about everything else. They're not thinking about their peripherals, they're not thinking about where they came from, and sometimes they're not thinking about the smartest way to get to what's ahead of them. As a coach, we have this 30,000 foot view where we can really understand what this human is about, where they came from, what they need to do, and what's hindering them from actually getting to that goal that's ahead of them. So as a coach, remember that you are there steering the ship, but we also want to bring our clients in so that they can truly understand how to make these changes and do it for long-term success. All right, the next concept we want to talk about is WAR. So this concept is asking if the client is willing, able, and ready, which is really important for a coaching process. Now, this definitely can be implemented prior to a client signing up with you, because you do want to see if your future client is actually going to be a good client. And it's okay for you as a coach to want to vet out a client just as much as a client wants to vet out their coach. So when we break down this concept of war, we want to know, is the client willing? Do they actually want to make a change? Because when it comes to coaching, it's kind of like that shiny toy syndrome. It seems really fun and exciting at first, but then as you get into it, you realize like, okay, this is actually work. Changing your life and changing your habits that you've potentially been doing for many, many years is hard work. So we really want to ensure that people are mentally and emotionally invested in changing themselves. And they're not just signing up because it sounded like something fun to do or because their spouse is doing it. We really want to understand if they are invested, which brings me to my next point. Do they understand their why behind coaching? This is huge, you guys. So take out a pen and paper and write this down. You have to get to your client's deep-rooted why because of a couple things. First and foremost, that surface level answer of, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose weight and feel good. That doesn't mean anything. That literally holds no value. We want to dig deeper and understand, why is it that if you lost 20 pounds, you would feel better? Why do you want to lose weight and feel better? Because that insinuates you're not feeling that now. Be like that little annoying kid in the back seat that's asking like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And keep asking why. Why do you want this? You honestly don't have to remember any other question other than just why. And let them talk, let them explain and dig deeper. Because when you get to the thick of coaching and your client maybe falls off a little bit or becomes discouraged, or you just have to kind of have like a reality check moment with them, it's really, really important to go back to that deep-rooted why and have that conversation. So it hopefully reinvigorates them and allows them to take it seriously. So do not forget to dig deep into that why. The second out of our WAR acronym is ABLE. Do they have the capacity to actually make change? So what I mean by this is, do they have the necessary knowledge, skills, and support to make change? All right, so you're the coach, you can provide knowledge. That's relatively easy. You also can provide knowledge on how to obtain certain skills. When it comes to the client's support system, you can't be their entire support system. So understanding what their home life looks like is really important. If they have a spouse or their significant other or a family member who is not supportive, that also is going to give you a huge insight in what you're going to be facing, because that's a really, really difficult situation for, of course, your client, but also you as the coach. And in that scenario, you get to decide if you can help them or if it's not a good fit. The last out of our acronym for WAR is ready. Are they prepared to take action? So we want to know if they're ready to commit to what you are going to require out of your program. And remember, coaches, we all have different programs and we're all going to require different things from our programs. But most of the time, coaches are going to require some level of tracking and food measuring and certainly grocery shopping on a weekly basis and getting ready for their week and following a program and training. There are essentials that are going to make people successful. We have to know if our clients are able to commit to those things at some point. It doesn't mean right away. Of course, not everyone is ready to sign up and start weighing their food and tracking it immediately. But if that is a part of your program, which it probably should be at some point for some sort of duration, then we do have to understand if our client is willing to get to that point eventually. And if they're not, it might not be a good fit. So you do want to figure that out before you dive in with this person so that they don't become disappointed and you also don't become disappointed. And then lastly, do they feel confident enough with taking the first step? So if they're having a conversation with you, that is technically the first step. That's great. Paying for your coaching is then a huge next step. But if this is somebody who keeps going back and forth, reaching out for your attention and kind of has that 1 foot in, 1 foot out type attitude, also take note of that, because you want to build a healthy relationship. And sometimes when it starts off not so healthy, it gives you a pretty clear insight in how it's going to go. And we bring this up because as new coaches, we do encourage you to coach all walks of life, but also understand that vetting people out beforehand is a really smart way to not set yourself up for disaster in some cases. So willing, able, and ready. The next concept we are going to talk about in the art of coaching is what is common versus what is normal. Basically, this whole concept is to help your clients understand the difference between what they are experiencing and what they should be experiencing. Because oftentimes people have literally no idea. Many people just accept poor health and subpar functioning as acceptable. And we don't want that. We want optimal. We want people to be thriving. So this is a really, really fun conversation that you can have before you sign someone up to let them know what you expect to happen down the line. And of course, it will be something that you talk about as you get going with your coaching. Your job as a coach is to reframe their perspective of health and guide them to where they need to be, right? You are the coach. So we're gonna go through a couple examples of what is common in today's world and then what is actually normal and optimal. A couple examples would be common scenario, drinking around 20 ounces of water a day, which if you don't know now, that is very little. That's not a whole lot. What is actually normal and what we're aiming for is to at least drink half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. Another common place for people to live is having irregular and infrequent bowel movements. So it's that client that's like, hey, I only go to the bathroom every third day of the week or once every 5 days. You know, something that's just really, really unhealthy. They don't know any better. Because what's actually normal is having daily, well-formed, normal stools, which we will get to this in our digestion module, but this conversation is only weird if you make it weird. So learn to not ever be affected by too much information. The next common issue would be chronic fatigue and afternoon crashes. What's actually normal is steady, sustained energy throughout the day. Cravings and blood sugar swings is another common aspect people deal with, what's actually normal is going to be balanced hunger and stable energy levels. And lastly, and there are many, many more, but just to give you some examples, what's common is needing coffee just to function. And really what is normal is feeling naturally alert upon waking and throughout the day, as we've mentioned. Diving into this a little bit more, we want to really instill the fact that education drives compliance. So this is really, really important with clients because they can't fix what they don't know, right? If clients don't know something is necessarily wrong or not optimal, then they're not going to really spend much time trying to fix it. Because once again, they just don't know, and they probably have no idea how much it's going to positively affect their life. Instead of just telling, remember, we're not trying to just tell and inform and teach all the time. We're really trying to give them this information and give them context and give them analogies so they can kind of start to grasp this information. So an example of this could be talking to somebody with really, really low energy. So instead of just saying, hey, you need to eat more food, let's say like, hey, think of your metabolism like a fire. If you're feeding it frequent, balanced meals, it's going to burn efficiently, and that's what we need. Another concept to consider is the whole reframe their understanding of health. So ask questions to help them reflect on where they're at and then to think about where they could be. So an example of this would be, what would your daily life look like if you no longer felt that like bloat and discomfort after meals and you didn't have that horrible afternoon midday crash? That sounds kind of nice, right? So we do this by encouraging, of course, educating, and also 100% encouraging self-tracking and self-monitoring, which once your client signs up with you, they will absolutely be tracking nearly everything in their life, because as a coach, we want that data. And as a client, we need them to really start to assess their own actions. So encouraging them to track their water, to track their bowel movements, to track their energy levels throughout the day is going to just help bring clarity to all of these scenarios so they can really start to connect the dots. So the next concept we are going to talk about is the triangle of awareness. This is such a huge talking point with your clients. And once again, this can be a prospective client or this can be somebody who is signed up and ready to go. Understanding the 3 paths of aesthetics, performance, and longevity is crucial in knowing that you have to pick a path in order to have your optimal results. So if you think about this triangle here, and you think about the points having aesthetics, performance, and longevity, most people are